Welcome back, folks, to World of Warships Legends for the Italian cruiser line as we continue. One of my absolute favorite lines in the game. We'll talk more about it. These have a lot of similar traits, so if you've seen the other videos, some of these are going to be a lot of super similar. Now, with that being said, let's make this a shorter video. Let's get into the build and. Uh, Again, Sanzanetti, you can use Mimbelli. That is an option. It's just not the option I choose. The traits I use are Beyond Range, Home Run, Subtle Manipulations, and Fixated. Now, these two traits right here, your second and your third one, these are going to change at the beginning of when you get these ship because you do not have SAP. I highly recommend getting SAP when you do get the ship. It is very good when you do know how to use it. With that being said, though, you will have HE to start with, so you probably don't want to use the SAP one. You're going to want to switch that to AP, and these do have decent AP. I feel like when they're light cruisers, they don't overpen as much, but they still are solid for what it is. You can still catch people and this one to get your fire chances up on the HE. And when you get to SAP, go back to these perks right here. You can use the before it's too late perk, but as with all this whole line, because of the playstyle I have in this line, I really kind of have an idea, or I try to, of where destroyers are. So I take the range over detectability since I know what they're coming. Also, fully packed is your perk because that extra smoke is super handy. That panic smoke. And as always, Kuzanov and Membeli for reload and range. So we'll go to the upgrades here. Oh, we'll go to the loadout first here. Um, you can put a camouflage on. Now, I love this line, so I absolutely did. I even put a permanent one on. And you do have the smoke. Do not take the defensive AA. Uh, this smoke, it makes this catapult fighter super useful. The catapult fighter you can spot while in your smoke, while you're in your panic smoke. It is super handy to use them together. Upgrades. Now, this line does have bad turret traverse, so you could take this, but I am always an accuracy person, even on cruisers. So I will go with the aiming systems mod 1. Again, this ship has really good rudder shift time. You could definitely go propulsion mod. I think most people would probably prefer that. My playstyle, though, especially in this thing, it already has good rudder shift, and when you even drop it more, it is really fun. A lot of battleships whiff at you if you're kiting them, or this is really good at dodging torpedoes. So that's why I use that. And then obviously here on you want to get your detectability down. It's one of the strengths of this ship. Now for your actual upgrades here, I definitely I wouldn't recommend this on all cruisers because I normally would start with your range mod, your targeting systems upgrade. This line, however, I would do the SAP shells right away. They are so good at a lot of things, including taking out destroyers. That's is what I would go through, and then I would do your range, then your hull, and then your torpedo upgrade. All right, so specs, health, it has it. Hopefully, because you're in a cruiser, you don't really use it, but you sometimes will. Artillery, this 15-second reload seems to be like a common trait throughout, whether they're light cruisers or heavy cruisers. These are the 8-inch guns, the heavy cruiser. The one did not surprise me like it did the Trento, so I was ready for the heavy cruiser detectability. We'll get into that in a minute. Again, traverse speed, not great, obviously. So keep that in mind. Torpedoes, they are slow, good detectability, not as good range as the tier before, which is kind of surprising. But again, these can catch people off guard. You will see that because of that range when you're kiting away, unless somebody's close to you, they don't really hit these torps as much as they did on like the Trento. Respectable AA. And again, maneuverability is where this line shines. Although on this ship in particular, it's a little slower, but it has really good turning circle or radius and still the good rudder shift. So you lose some of that speed, but still, it is a very good uh, maneuverability altogether for a heavy cruiser. Now, concealment, this thing actually gets lower than the Trento at 9.4. And also uh, detectability and smoke. This line obviously went to heavy cruiser at Trento. It is 6 kilometers. Uh, I knew that when I got this ship because of the Trento, so it didn't catch me off guard. As you can tell by my stats, pretty darn solid for what this ship is. Uh, 70% win rate, pretty accurate on the guns, particularly because in this line I shoot a lot of destroyers. I do it all the time, but in this line in particular, I shoot destroyers like crazy because I'm hunting them a lot of times in this thing. Uh, Average damage 55,000 damage. This is not a line. You can do a lot of damage with SAP if you want to, but I feel like it's almost better to use these things like a super destroyer or a steroid destroyer, is what I would call this line. So you can see pretty solid overall on armor, guys. Again, these things do have pretty good armor as you go. You don't want to bow take in them. They all have bows that can be overmatched by battleships at their tier. But real quickly, we'll pull everything off so you can look at the citadel. Again, it has a raised citadel, and again, it has really solid belt armor, but that is your citadel. So when you do get caught in this, it can bounce a lot of rounds, but when you do get caught in it, you do get really caught in it. Um, so be careful with that. As we go ahead and check the other ships and start this battle, it is disclaimer time. This is a beginner's guide with my opinions on how to play and build this ship to help people who need help. This is not for people who think they already know everything about the game. There isn't just one way to play or build any ship. Also, I am just a above average player, not a perfect player. I make mistakes. You're gonna see some in the game. I'm sure of it. Also, I slaughter beautiful languages as good as anyone. It's almost an art form how great I am at wrecking languages. So prepare yourselves. And we are on North. This is a very tough map, as you will can see, but luckily for my team, I am very fortunate for my teammates. They actually go for A and C, which in my opinion is always the smarter option. It's easier to control 2 caps than it is to get the 1 cap that is not worth as much because everybody's there. And you're going to see that in this video. I did actually have another match that I kept with a lot more damage and more XP. But I chose this match because this is such a perfect showcase for these ships in general. Um, Again, I do this what I call a fight or flight test, where I come in, I see what the scenario is. If I like my odds, I'll stick it out here and tough it out. If I don't like it, I'll take my smoke and I'll turn and get the heck out of there. These things are quick, maneuverable. You can use them wonderfully to get out of areas. And again, these absolutely wreck destroyers. I said it in the videos, I'll say it again. I have more dev strikes in these 3 ships of this cruiser line than I do on all other ships combined with guns in the entire game. Just off these three, I've got more dev strikes on destroyers with just the tier 3 or the 4, 5, and 6. Now you'll notice my team is leaving me, which I don't have a problem with. They're going over to take that cap. I do like having crossfires. I do have a guy behind me who did get a good citadel on that, but I do believe this guy even leaves here in a little bit or gets destroyed. But you can see that guy just died. We have 5 guys over here that we're basically taking on. We have that one cruiser helping right now, but it's gonna be 5-on-1 or 4-on-1 after I believe this guy dies or he just takes off and says screw this. And I come up to the island. I want this cap. I normally wouldn't, but I started over here, and I always kind of go for caps with this Italian line, or I check to see if it's available to do. But if I start in the middle, I always go. Generally, I'll try to even out the teams, or I will go to the 2-cap side. Now, with that being said, I am going to be this whole side's kind of pain in the butt. As you can see there, not a whole lot of damage there, but I'm just kind of annoying him a little bit. And you can see with AP, I did shoot one with AP, I believe, and I got less damage than I did with the SAP, just as a just kind of show you guys there that the SAP is good. Now I have the cap, so I can back up a little bit. If this is on this team to go ahead and charge me. If you look at the map, there is still 5 guys on this half of the map. So they're gonna have to charge me, or I can annoy the crap out of them, which I like doing in these ships. The rudder shift on this Italian line is just really fun to use. I think it's one of the most things that most people don't talk about. You're going to see, I'm down, a couple thousand health? That doesn't change much in this fight, and I have 5 guys over here. And you're going to see, I think the battleship, I think it's like the Renown, the British one, they get a couple hits. That's it. Everything else, I pretty much bounce or I shake. Now, I'm not sure what this guy is doing, but he's not going to be doing it particularly long. And that's kind of why I like the accuracy, getting the citadels with this thing. Now you can see they're shooting at me like crazy, and I have 33,000 health. A lot of that is not going to change. And this Renown, you can see right there with that SAP round, I just did a pretty good chunk of damage. Now, at the beginning of this match, I wasn't able to get a lot of damage. I was taking control of cap, and that is way more valuable than damage hunting. You can see that's the one shot the Renown gets. Now, I know this sounds crazy. I see a destroyer, I shoot it. So, I already know, even not from remembering this part, I'm going to shoot that destroyer. I'm going to try to. Getting a destroyer off the board is way more important than anything, in my opinion. Now I'm going to sit out here in my smoke. I'm going to stop moving because them guys either going to throw it real short or past me. I'm not sure what happens. It kind of goes a little short there. And now I'm just going to sit here for a little bit and annoy the crap out of them. I'm really surprised these guys didn't charge, especially that Bayern. But again, with the torpedoes that this thing has, you can make people pay for charging. Again, one of my absolute favorite lines. These are just so much fun to play. And obviously, once in a while, you have your bad games like always. But man, when you get good at this, I call it fight or flight. And you figure it out in these Italian cruisers. It is so much fun. I've had so many games I could have saved in these ships because the end of the Trento and the Zara I just did. So these are very fresh to me. And a lot of these games I could have uh, I could have saved and shown a lot of them because a lot of them go just like this, where I love taking on people in the ship. I like taking caps. I like charging destroyers with these. One of the few cruisers that excels very much at doing this. Um, with that being said, my teammates have won their side and now easily control 2 caps. That's why I always talk about I would much rather get the 2 caps over the one. But because I was able to hold them off, I did get this cap, and I did hold this side off. Now my team is helping me over here. Now this is when I want to get crossfire, so I'm going to move up a little bit, and maybe if I get in a good spot, I'll try AP. But my team is doing pretty good over there, and you can see uh, them getting them 2 caps. I mean, even though the ship count is pretty similar, we are absolutely destroying them in points. And instead of damage hunting, points are winning off of points is gonna be more important, you know, and the end of the day to your team than, you know, damage hunting. I'm not a damage hunter. I try to do what I can do to help my team. So that Bayern is definitely under attack right now. Got a lot of people looking at him. So I'm just gonna chill and wait here, wait for him to come around this mountain. Like I said, there's a lot of fire on this poor guy right now. And I want to say I had a very good team in this game. Even though with the game I had, which was a very respectable game, there was a lot of other teammates that I had that also played respectable and and helped out quite a bit. And I don't remember who all helped out over there, but we can see we finish them off, and this is the beginning of the end. There's just too much firepower, too much crossfire from them winning their side, and then you know, they've even spread out really well over there. So the end is near for our enemy red team here. Now I have a smoke, so I'm not afraid about taking this broadside turn. And this guy is back for more. Now, he is broadside to the entire team and is losing health quickly as the North Carolina goes down. I feel like this may have been a newer player because he's bow tanking me, which I'm using semi or SAP, so it doesn't really matter a whole lot if he bow tanks me. He's better off to bow tank the other team, the team a little bit more. Um, but we do, as you can see, start to get rid of him. Teammates take him out because that's kind of what happens when you sail broadside. And I go to line up on that, and the game is over with a respectable game. Not a huge damage game, but I did a lot to help win our side and let the teammates help out. Anyway, you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time, folks.